Most people think it takes a lifetime of athletic training and years of preparation to survive special operations. But based on my experience as a coach, if you train with the right strategy, mindset, and proper prioritization, it is possible to crush selection in just 180 days. I will walk you through the baseline tests to identify your strengths and weaknesses, the 3 traits which matter most, and how to build your 180-day plan with specific exercises, workouts, and weekly templates. Your first step is to run your baseline tests. Number 1 is a 3-mile timed run. This is a midpoint between the classic 2 and 5-mile timed runs in the Army and 1.5 and 4-mile timed runs in the Navy. I want you to do this on a flat track, trail, or treadmill at 2% incline. If your time is over 23 minutes, you've got some work to do. Your goal should be to hit under 21 minutes, and elite candidates will be running 19 minutes or less. But why 3 miles? As I've worked with more athletes, I've noticed a common issue, which is guys will crush their short runs but fall apart over longer distances. 3 miles is a good midpoint. The trap bar deadlift is your second test, and one of the best indicators of raw functional strength. Work up to a 3-rep max here and use good form. The goal is to eventually deadlift at least 1.75 times your body weight, and for most guys, that means you should be pulling over 300 pounds, and competitive candidates will be pulling 365 or more. The third test is pull-ups, and weighted pull-ups specifically are a staple of mine for those who are strong enough. So with perfect form, a dead hang, and getting your chin above the bar, you should be targeting 15 or more unweighted reps. Competitive candidates will be hitting 10 or more with an additional 25 pounds of load. Upper body pulling strength is critical whether you're climbing ropes, doing weighted carries. Even rucking relies on a static upper body hold. And the fourth test is front or zercher squats. Find the heaviest weight that you can lift for 8 reps. If you're able to hit your body weight or more, congratulations. And if not, there's a good chance you need work in several departments: your leg strength, your static upper back strength, or your mobility. That's why more recently, I've been favoring the front and zercher squat over more traditional lifts like the back squat. And the final test depends on the course you're preparing for. It's either a 500-yard swim or an 8-mile ruck with 65 pounds. For my Marine Corps, Air Force, or Navy candidates, your goal for the 500-yard swim is 8 minutes and 30 seconds or less. But more importantly, you need to be comfortable in the water. If swimming isn't your strong suit, after this one, check out my video on how to master swimming in water confidence. Technique is everything when it comes to the water, and that video breaks it all down for you. And for those of you prepping for a land-based selection, you want to be able to ruck 8 consecutive miles with 55 pounds at a sub 15-minute mile pace. And that's at a pace where you can hold a conversation or nasal breathe. This is really important to understand, so let me break this one down. Unlike with running, where we're testing your max intensity pace, rucking is a long aerobic effort. You don't need to move that fast. So my focus when training athletes is raising the floor of their rucking performance. If you can comfortably meet the 15-minute mile standard at a low intensity pace, then 13-minute miles will feel comfortable once you raise the intensity. Just look at this chart. The better your base, the less energy that you have to burn, bridging the gap between your low intensity and your goal pace. But why do trap bar deadlifts or squats and not do more functional movement patterns to prepare? Those are fair points, but keep in mind, these tests are general benchmarks designed to gauge overall preparedness. I'll get to functional metabolic conditioning later. It's in that area I've been piloting changes to great success these past 12 months. But keep in mind, strength is also important. If 2 guys run 35-minute 5 miles and one has a 275-pound zercher squat while the other has solely specialized in dumbbell or bodyweight leg work, who do you want on your team carrying the apparatus? It's no contest. It's the guy who's built strength and has some muscle mass on his frame through lifting heavy weights that you want by your side. So with that said, here's a holistic view of scores you should work towards. It's worth pointing out that being very strong in one area may pull away from fitness in others, so you don't need to be elite across the board. Now, before I walk you through how to build your 180-day plan, it is crucial to understand prioritization and how to tackle your weaknesses. The 3 most important aspects of training are endurance, metabolic conditioning, and strength. In that order, I bring this up because if you're just getting started and you're weak across the board, you need to prioritize what matters. Think about the bottlenecks on your journey to and at selection. What are the drivers of attrition? It is a crucible, starting with the fitness test, then progressing to timed runs, rucks, and swims. So what I ask myself is, will my candidate crush the fitness test with enough energy left over to recover and perform at his next event? Is his metabolic conditioning strong enough to handle events in quick succession? And once he gets his foot in the door, does he have the full body strength and resilience to dominate heavy load carriage and rucks? Remember, the training for selection is actually very simple, but but organizing your week and time based on what matters most and your strengths and weaknesses does require intention. Cookie cutter programs can be great starting out, but they don't know you. So as you get more advanced in your training and closer to selection, you need to be thinking this way. So when I plan my athletes' training, I think in terms of 3 distinct phases: foundation building, development, and peaking. Each phase has specific goals to improve endurance, strength, and resilience so that when you hit selection, you're ready to dominate. The foundation phase is about building your core competencies to carry you through selection. This means building a base of endurance and strength. Your strength work should revolve around compound lifts, deadlifts, squats, presses, and pulls, with accessory work focused on building stability and strength in the muscle groups that matter most: your back, legs, shoulders, and grip. Here's a sample workout and movement patterns that I like. In terms of endurance, your focus should be on building an aerobic base, which involves longer distance and slower paced efforts. Remember how I mentioned raising the floor of your low intensity ruck performance helps close the gap between how much you need to speed up for your target pace? The same applies to running. Although these sessions are not exciting, doing them is what will enable you to recover while running 9-minute miles and recover even faster than everybody else between your intense efforts. Here's a few sample run workouts, and here's a few templates of what training might look like for you during this phase. And if you want more detailed sample templates with specific exercises and run workouts, they're linked for free in the description. Here's a quick tip. When you're building your plan, keep it flexible. Do not try to create the perfect program with every weight, rep, and set planned multiple weeks in advance. This is why I don't release 4, 8, or 12-week programs, and I'm not married to a particular progression, set of exercises, or rep schemes, even with the athletes I work with one-on-one. You are going to improve over the course of your training. You're going to get sick, and your training should be flexible to adjust with that. So instead, I recommend you build a general template with training phases and outline your goals for each of them. Focus on getting a little bit better each week and adjust as you go based on recovery, performance, and your schedule. That's how I work with my athletes, working backwards from our target readiness states with clear benchmarks. The second phase is development, which transitions to developing selection-focused fitness. It's where we start running faster, working more frequently, and also incorporating intense metabolic conditioning. For running, we'll now include focused 2 and 5 mile goal pace work. From session to session, your task is to hold your goal paces for longer time periods, more rounds, or shorter rest intervals. And for rucking, your training will remain largely the same, with a focus on long zone 2 efforts, although I do sometimes sprinkle some back and forth between zone 2 and 3 efforts during this phase. The other component of the development phase is metabolic conditioning, which blends strength and endurance and the varied demands and nature of selection events. Some examples might include weighted carries combined with calisthenics and high-intensity non-impact cardio, or it could even be 30 continuous minutes of rucking interspersed with movements focused on a weak point, like leg training or overhead carries. Here's an example of what a sample week of development training might look like. The peaking phase is your final push before selection. The focus here is not on improving your run or ruck times. In fact, you might even regress because the focus is on acclimating your body to extremely high volumes of running, rucking, load carriage, and improving your efficiency in functional metabolic conditioning. While the workload is high, it's important to note that you will have a deload at the end to drop the excess fatigue and allow for supercompensation to occur, which peaks your performance at the right time. The staples of running during this peaking phase are going to be your threshold and fartlek runs. These are runs where you're pushing at near maximal effort for 10+ minutes at a time, or alternating back and forth between high, medium, and low intensity efforts. I also recommend you switch up your ruck training to include heavy ruck intervals with 90 or more pounds. This is in addition to your existing and longer, lower intensity rucks with 55 to 65 pounds. If you want to deep dive into the why around heavy ruck training and all of the data showing why it's the greatest predictor of selection success, check out my comprehensive guide. I highly recommend it. Now, functional metabolic conditioning combines the strength, endurance, grit, and a focus on the muscle groups and movements that matter most. Here is one brutal session one of my athletes did who was recently selected. It is a killer. So now that I've spoken in general terms on what the peaking phase looks like, keep in mind it's highly dependent on your strengths and weaknesses. The closer selection gets, the less room for error there is, and the more you need to be diligent about your planning. In general, I suggest biasing your training more towards running, walking, and metabolic conditioning the closer you get to selection. Here's a few templates of what training might look like in these final 6 to 8 weeks. My bonus tip for this video is to control your controllables. Training is straightforward once you have a plan and routine. But let's be honest, it's never going to be easy. Everyone responds differently to training. Just like there's a genetic component to height, there is variation in how quickly people adapt to a training stimulus. But here's the good news. I've not found a strong correlation between where candidates start in their fitness journey and their ultimate success at selection. I've seen relatively average guys transform in 4 months, running very fast and lifting benching like powerlifters. Others will become incredibly strong, but just take longer to build endurance. Your starting point does matter, but it doesn't define your outcome. Some of you might be ready in a few months, while others will need more time to address your weaknesses. And that's okay, it's part of the process. So here's my challenge to you. Commit to 180 days this year. Stick with it and see how far it takes you. If you're serious about getting after it, you can apply for one-on-one coaching at the link in the description. If you want to know why rucking is the greatest predictor of selection success and how to improve, check out the video on the screen.